And just like that, we are back. NBA Finals game 1 last night. No basketball for like 6 days. Was it worth the wait?
Yes, it was for me. It was for me because guess what? I saw a unicorn last night.
Ah, yes,
There
we
was a
saw a
unicorn
lot of
sighting.
unicorn.
It was a
Hmm.
unicorn sighting in white and green. I, I'm just saying. Welcome back from your injury, Kristaps Porzingis. Oh my
Unbelievable. The Dallas Mavericks, it's almost like, did they know that he was coming back? Because he just completely obliterated whatever type of defense. He killed them on the switches. He's 7'3". How Jaden Harvey get caught up? How Josh Green get caught up guarding him? He don't even see them when he's shooting the basketball. Come on,
He don't
y'all.
even he don't even see them. And Lively, I'm sorry in advance. Hopefully this, I don't know what the outcome of the series will be, but if this game one, didn't prove anything, Lively, if you can extend your skills to get a shot, let
Yes.
Kristaps Porzingis be your guide. I mean, you could, if you work hard, and add to your skill set, you could be the next guy who can shoot a three from the perimeter. I mean, if you don't want to follow Nikola Jokic, I mean, Kristaps Porzingis is a nice one to see, especially what he put up against y'all in game one. I mean,
Hmm.
what?
Yes, yes. And when you talk about his body style, yeah, that is a good mark for Lively to kind of shoot for. Lively was in foul trouble all night and he just could not get it
Couldn't get
going. I
together.
don't know what was going on. I mean, 5 fouls. I mean, I think he had his fifth foul
In
round
third, and
about maybe the third
the
quarter.
third
Was it
quarter.
third?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I said, oh, he about to be sitting down if you don't get it together. And when they set him down, when he did sit down after the fifth foul, he looked disgusted, as you should be. I promise you that again, game one, I'm going to say again, I get it. But we're talking about game one, right? We ain't talking about game two and what can happen in the future. We're talking about game one. What I will say is this: the Dallas Mavericks were not ready for Kristaps Porzingis. They may have been
No.
slightly ready for the Boston Celtics, but not the Boston Celtics with Kristaps Porzingis coming off bench. They weren't ready for that. And as a matter of fact, Jaylen Brown, y'all, who that is? I know they keep talking about Jason Tatum, and I get it. They want him to be. I get it. But that dog and Jaylen Brown, how do
Mm-hmm.
you want it? He's gonna give it to you. I'm like, what? That
Yeah.
strength. You know what? Jaylen Brown, I don't know. He may mess around if he keep playing the way he played in game one. For me, he may mess around and be my finals MVP if the Boston Celtics bring it on home. I'm saying, well, I'll tell you right now, he was MVP in this particular game. He was
Yeah.
balling.
Yes, on both sides of the basketball. For me, it was so impressive. He had 3 blocks, played really aggressive, and he played with no fear. That's what you need. I heard Doris Burke say that Jason Tatum was utilizing patience. I'm sorry. I think that was passiveness. That was not patience.
I
No.
heard her say that. That was cute, Doris. Don't do that again. Call it what it is. Call it what it is. He was using passiveness. I agree 100% with that. Yes. I'm gonna need
Hmm.
what he patient for. Why you doing that? You reserving it for game 4? No, give it to me right now. Mm-mm.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Okay.
said Jaylen Brown said, I got it.
He sure did. Just impressive. 1 through like 6 or 7 for the Boston Celtics were absolutely amazing. They double digits from all of their starters. And then you had Porzingis coming off the bench with 20 points, 3 blocks, 6 rebounds. I mean, he was just, oh my goodness. Can we talk about how they guarded Luka Doncic? The Luka that we saw against the Minnesota Timberwolves was not the Luka that showed up last night in game 1 of the NBA Finals. He could not get it going. Now I know he scored 30 points. I see all that. But what we don't see is how flustered he was when they were guarding him. They threw so many bodies at Luka Doncic. He didn't know what was going on. He did not do his downhill pick and roll with any of the bigs. He did not do his traditional lobs to either PJ, Derrick Jones Jr., or Gafford. What happened?
Uh-uh.
We didn't
I'm
see
sorry.
the classic Luka Doncic magic that we're accustomed to seeing.
I would say this. He did have a few moments, pockets of time where he was like, okay, I think Luka, I think that's the one. Here he comes. But I feel like in this series, Luka can put up 60 and they can still lose
Yeah.
because of the firepower that Boston Celtics have. I will say this, and we were texting during the game, and you mentioned about the lob um, connection that Luka was able to do in the previous two series. That ain't gonna happen with
Mm-hmm.
this one. Again, Lively, Gafford, y'all gonna have to find some other skills because if you think you're just gonna be able to just stand around up under the basket and wait for Luka to give it to you, nah. Porzingis ain't gonna see it, and I
No.
promise you, he won't see it. Jaylen Brown, it ain't gonna happen. Not on they watch. Not from game one. It won't. Mm-mm,
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
mm-mm.
And the sad thing is, I don't even know what Jason Kidd can do to adjust
Uh,
because the Boston Celtics play such a physical style of defense and they can switch 1 through 5, really. I mean,
really,
everybody plays defense on the Celtics. Everybody.
everybody. And then I would even you say 1 through 5, but I'm going to extend it to the people on the bench because if you put Pritchard in there and Hauser, they can give you a little distraction, a little something.
Uh-huh.
Pritchard a little shorty, but he can get low. He got a little bottom and like a little, he got some bottom to him. So you may get a little. He's a little quick too. I'm just saying, like the switching that Boston's able to do. I don't know if Dallas can match that piece alone. I don't know if they can. We'll
Yes,
see.
yes. I know. Oh my goodness. Now, okay, so Dallas did make a little bit of a run, and typical,
That was
Boston Celtics,
cute.
they'll allow you back in the game.
Oh, they'll let you come
'Cause-
back. Oh,
uh-huh.
absolutely. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But what
Mhm.
I noticed was severe growth because normally they'll let you back in the game. They may even let you take the lead, but not last night. It seems like they learned from their prior mistakes. And it's like, okay, they made it a game. They got it down to 8. We had a 21-point lead. No time to panic. Let's just put our foot on their necks. And that's exactly what they did. And they pushed the lead back up. I think somewhere around 20 points. And then it was a wrap from there.
It was a wrap from there. You know what? I will say this. I still see some pockets from the Boston Celtics when when the 3 points not going in, y'all still trying.
Yeah.
Don't die by that three. I can't. I want to say may have been right when the Dallas Mavericks was bringing down the lead and got around the 8 markets we talked about. It was around
Hmm.
that time frame. I said, if anybody else from the Boston Celtics attempt another 3 pointer, I'm gonna scream. Stop doing that. If y'all gonna drive, all y'all strength, y'all can't drive to the basket. Derek White, you included. Jason Tatum, stop doing it, right? And I keep saying shoot, shoot, shoot. But when your lead is starting to trickle down, then maybe and your shot ain't going off, y'all know y'all can muster through the basket. At least you in one or 2 points at the free throw line. Stop putting up the non-effective threes when it comes in pocket. Really gets on my nerves. And Boston Celtics are really good for that. When their three is hidden, it's beautiful, it's poetic. But when it's not, and they still try it, sometimes I'm just like,
Hmm.
y'all look at the score. Y'all not looking up at the Showtronics big old TV up there. Check it out. I mean, come on. You
Yes,
can't.
yes.
I don't know if they can run the risk in game three. Excuse me, 2 through 7. Run the risk of allowing their 3 points just to keep hoisting them up, and then I hitting up against this Luka team because what we didn't see last night was Kyrie go off. That's what we didn't see. So we'll
Yes.
see.
Which was a shocker because I mean, he didn't look like he was rattled at all. Kyrie's been here before. But yeah, he did not have a good game. 6 for 19 from the field, missed all of his 3 pointers, and finished the game with 12 points and minus 19 on the floor. That's not a Kyrie Irving type of game. And I don't know, it will never know if being in Boston played on his psyche or not. We'll never know. He's not going to let us know that. He's a mentally tough guy, but it just seemed like maybe, possibly, there's a storyline there that Kyrie being back in Boston and the fans just booing him every time he touched the ball, maybe it bothered him a little bit.
I'm going to say it did. However, I don't expect him to say it. He is so skilled enough now that he knows. When I watched him in the press conference, when I seen him during the game, and he seemed so poised, right, and unbothered. He seemed unbothered. But I would say he was bothered, and let me tell you why. When's the last time you seen Kyrie Irving dribble off his foot? See, when that happened, I said, right, you are bothered. Now, but you put on a good face. Off his foot, that skillful dribbler, stop. Stop.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's uncharacteristic. And I'm not saying it can't happen. It just seemed odd for me. And I didn't like it. And that was
Yes.
when I said, I think he's a little shook. That's what I
Yeah.
noticed it right then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime you have what 3 turnovers, 7 between
Yes.
their top stars, I'm like, y'all real sloppy with this basketball. And Luka Doncic, now this is his first time in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
I expected him to have a Kyrie Irving type of game that he had last night, right? Kind of be off a little bit, kind of into the crowd, into his emotions. But Luka, I mean, he did finish the game. I mean, if you look at it, 30 points and 10 rebounds.
Yeah, but it's the one assist. It's the one assist that I think is the
Mhm.
glaring stat that changed the trajectory of how Dallas Mavericks finished this game. One assist from Luca.
Yes, that is a problem. But here's the deal. He had no one to pass it to.
That's my point. This is what I'm talking about. So let's really break it down though, for real. At the end of the day, if the lobs are not working, because the lobs worked in the Timberwolves series, they worked the Clippers series, they worked, right? I don't know if they're going to work in this series against Boston. So if he doesn't have that to help him, where and if Kyrie and him are not on the floor for long periods of time, because usually they like to switch off. If Kyrie is sitting down, Luka's down, and if Kyrie on the floor, Luka's sitting down. That happens throughout the game. And if PJ Washington can get his corner left, right 3-pointer shot, what's going to happen? Who
We're
else they
gonna
going to get it
see
from? Let's talk
exactly,
about it.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Because I watched Tim Hardaway come off the bench, and I was like, okay, maybe this is a
Mm-mm,
series that he can thrive in because he's more so a perimeter shooter, and that's what they needed last night. They didn't get
mm-mm,
anything from him.
mm-mm,
Maxi
mm-mm, Chris.
Kleber, same thing,
Mm-mm,
perimeter shooter, nothing.
mm-mm.
I- this is just not
Yeah.
enough offense for the Mavs against the Boston Celtics.
Are you serious? Who has to go off? So we already know that it has to be Luka and it has to be Kyrie. Who is their third option really that they can rely on if for some reason Luka and or Kyrie is off? Who is it?
They don't have no, they don't have one. Mm-mm.
Who are they? Maybe it's a couple of them. Who are they?
No,
That's scary. When we're talking about them up against Boston, because they
right.
looked locked and loaded when they were up against the Timberwolves. Locked and
And
loaded.
and if you remember, I said, okay, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic scored 66 points in one of the games against the Timberwolves. I said they look great, but how do they look when they can't score 60 plus points combined? And you said we're going to see, and I think we're seeing right now in this series against the Boston Celtics.
My, I agree with you. My only thing is that this is where the matchup. This is why matchup matters, because even if I my doubts after game one, I doubt today. It may not be after game two. I may not feel the same way after game three, but after game one, if Luka were to put up a good 60 and Kyrie followed that up with a good 30, I still don't think it's enough. They can play phenomenal, and I still believe after game one, it won't be enough. Especially if Kristaps Porzingis show up like he showed up in game one. I don't see it happening. I don't know. I don't see
Mhm.
Dallas Mavericks having enough after game one. That's crazy.
It is crazy. And I know it's early in the series
It's
and all
early.
that, but
Mm-hmm.
do you think Coach Mazzulla should continue to keep Porzingis on the bench and have him come in, as a 6 man and give them that offensive punch? Or should he send Al Horford back to the bench and allow Uncle Al to come in? It worked really well last night. I can't say it's going to continue to work the way that it has. Now, of course, Porzingis, he had been off for I don't know how many days, so he had fresh legs. You could venture to say all the players should have had fresh legs, but Porzingis has way less mileage than the other
Yeah.
players on the Boston Celtics. I don't care how you look at it, I
If I
just don't
rec-
know.
if I remember, I believe it was 38 days, 5 weeks. If I can remember, one of those for Kristaps Porzingis, where he has not played the game. I thought I heard him say it last night. I could be mistaken. And give me couple of, could be plus or minus a few weeks, plus or minus a few days. But I want to say it's 38 days, around 5 weeks. At the end of the day, though, I think they should run it back in game two. And if necessary, switch it up in game three. Right? It's about the availability of the switches. I think that the Boston Celtics have to their advantage. Whereas, unfortunately, for the Dallas Mavericks, they do not. Which would be a great feat if the Dallas Mavericks can, with their limited resources, because at that point, it seems limited resources for me. Now, I didn't feel that way against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but against this Boston Celtics team, Dallas Mavericks, for me, have limited resources. And if they could pull out an NBA championship off of that, oh my goodness. But it's going to require for the Boston Celtics to have a meltdown in order for it to happen. And we all know in true Boston Celtics fashion with this roster, it is possible. So
it is very possible. Oh my
goodness. It's very possible. Very possible.
Oh, okay. So, hey, game two is in a couple of days. And the funny thing is, before the series started, I said I was pulling for the Dallas Mavericks. And I'm still holding strong to that. Dallas Mavericks in 6. But it comes with a couple of caveats, if you will. Jason Kidd has to figure out how to get the lob action going, because that's exactly where their additional points are going to come from. And then also he has to figure out, or Lively has to figure out, how he can defend without fouling, because they need him. He's at least 18 points off the bench. Easy. But last night we got 2 points, 16-point difference. That could have been the game.
Yes. Yeah. Or at least a reduction in the gap of loss. If nothing else. No, I agree. What do you think about Gafford? How do you think he performed?
Oh, Gafford. Like I said, I mean, he's more of a dunker, and that's it. He does play pretty good defense, but 8 points is not going to cut it. He has to figure out how to create his own shots, because they don't necessarily have to double Luka Doncic. And if they don't double Luka Doncic, that means that everybody's playing one-on-one. When they double Luka, then somebody's open. It gets the Mavs offense flowing, and that's how they get those additional points. But that's just not happening in this series.
Not so far. Not from game one. I mean, it's almost like Luka and Kyrie have to become two people. Right? Because they're taking up from the other players, especially in their starting lineup, that are not shot creators and or just jump shooters. They don't have it. They don't have it. When you're looking at them against the Boston Celtics, it's glaring difference. So I'm a little concerned for Dallas. Again, game one, I am quite sure that Jason Kidd, aside from suiting up himself, will be able to come up with some type of scheme to combat some of the challenges that they faced in game one. I'm quite sure it's going to happen. We will see a different Dallas Mavericks team in game two, as we will see different Boston Celtics team in game two as well. So for me, in game two, what I'm going to be looking for is what type of changes and or schemes did the Dallas Mavericks gain from their play, I would say, for lack of a better term, in game one that they can improve in game two. I want to see what Dallas Mavericks do different, because the Boston Celtics, if they continue to play the playing, they're going to win the series.
Absolutely.
It's going to be what will the Dallas Mavericks do different that's going to change the trajectory of this series for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like in game two.
Yes, I'm looking for that too. And much talk about the Boston Celtics not being tested along the playoffs and into the finals. I mean, maybe they didn't need to be tested and they just could not get up for their opponents, because they are looking like a well-oiled machine right now. I mean, they have absolutely no gaps in their offense or defense. And to me, and it is only game one. And I will also be looking for those adjustments made by the Dallas Mavericks, but it's looking real limited right now.
One of the things that can hem up the Boston Celtics is if they feel like they have it in the bag. Now that could be your demise, right? Because although I believe they had a Yellow Brick Road cakewalk to the finals, I believe they did. If they come into this series with that same, I don't believe they came into the series with that same mentality, but if they build that mentality throughout the series, they could potentially lose it, because then you become cocky, you become messy. You lose your assignments. You lose your assignments. You don't know what, you just think you got it and you can, and you think you can just save yourself. they have to be careful with their mindset. I think it's going to be more of a mindset because right now, skill level, they got it. Mindset can be the change. So hopefully they'll still stay hungry. And I believe one of the one comment that Jaylen Brown made is that don't get cute. It's just one game. Exactly. Don't get cute. It's just
I
one
like that.
game. And I'm like,
I
right. So if
like
their
that.
mindset remotely becomes, oh, we already won the championship, that can be their loss. So they got to be careful with their mindset.